Hello and good morning for some, good afternoon for others, and good evening for the rest of you. This is Phantom, and we are back with Chapter 17 of For the Ones We Love, written by Flim Brothers on FIM Fiction. If you want to check out the story yourself, link will be in the description, as well as a link to Brad's channel, who helped me out in previous chapters, future chapters, and so on and so forth. I know it's been quite a long time, about 3 weeks now, since I've done the last reading, but you know, things happen. And starting on my new job, it's kind of hard to readjust. But enough with that. Today we are going to be continuing the For the Ones We Love series, which we have after this, we have about 11 chapters left, so hopefully we can get that done in a reasonable period of time, instead of, a year from now, or never. So, let's get into it! This is Chapter 17, The Proposal. I became insane, with long intervals of horrible sanity. During these fits of absolute unconsciousness, I drank. God only knows how often or how much. As a matter of course, my enemies referred the insanity to the drink, rather than the drink to the insanity. A quote by Theater Pony 66. It was nighttime, and Spike laid awake in his bed, the beautiful mare of his dreams curled up next to him. He wanted to sleep. Goddess knows that he needed it. Tomorrow would be his last day before the proverbial crap hit the proverbial fan. But he just couldn't close his eyes. His thoughts wouldn't let him. Why did I kiss her? He thought. I should have known she would have pulled something like that. The dragon sighed as he looked down at the white unicorn sleeping next to him, using his chest as a pillow. She was perfect. Too good for him. How on earth was he able to get a girl like her? He was scum. And she was a goddess. He didn't deserve her. He carefully lifted the mare's head off his chest and to his side. The gentle rhythm of her soft snoring was soothing as he carefully got out of the bed, doing his best not to disturb Rarity as he crept towards the door. Spike? Spike froze as the sleepy mare slowly opened her eyes. What are you doing? Oh, it's late. Come back to bed. I just need to get some air, he whispered. Have to clear my head of a few things. Well, come back soon. The bed is cold without you. Will do, honey, the dragon said, leaning into the mare and giving her a kiss on the cheek. I love you. I love you too, the mare said, smiling as she closed her eyes and quickly drifted back to sleep. With the white mare asleep, the dragon silently slipped out of the room, gently closing the door behind him. He walked down the quiet halls of the castle, thinking of what he should do about his predicament. Should I tell her? He thought. That would be the right thing to do, right? Do you think they'll notice? There was someone else in the halls. Going a little out of character, he slowly crept to the voices and peeked around the corner, seeing a brown and bronze dragon leaning in the hallway. What? That lurch ate the entire kitchen? The pink one hasn't ratted us out yet. I'm sure someone is going to notice eventually. Horse crap. So what should we do? Well, it's quite obvious what we need to do, smiled the Earth Dragon. We need to eat Pinkie Pie. Spike's heart jumped as he choked back a gasp. Did he just say what he thought he said? Now, Bitter, don't say things like that. You're going to give Spike a heart attack. Wait, what? Spike, we know you're there. And no, we haven't eaten any pony. Though we can't say the same for Lurch. What? Spike said as he came around the corner. Who did he eat? I think her name was Applejack, the orange one with the hat. Oh, goddess, no! Relax, she crawled out, said Bitterbite, calming the purple drake down. It's actually a funny story. You see, Pinkie was showing us how to bake cupcakes, and we've never had sugar before, and he had an overreaction, finished Glimmer. The guy has 3 tongues, so all taste is tripled for him. So he tried to eat my friend? He ate the kitchen first. Seriously, there is nothing Lurch can't eat. Well, as long as everyone is okay. You guys have a room for tonight? Nah, we're just going to lie in the grass, smiled the Earth Drake, putting a claw around the Dragoness's shoulder. How romantic. Spike grinned. I'll leave you to it. Later, Spike. Glimmer winked as the two dragons left hand in hand. Why can't it be that easy? He muttered to himself, continuing down the hall. I mean, I did what I thought was right. Rarity can't hate me for trying to protect her, even if what I did was dirty. He realized that he was speaking out loud and quickly shut his mouth. I was trying to protect her. Protect her by making out with someone else. He groaned in his mind. This sucks. What the hell am I going to do? For the last time, I didn't cheat. Another arguing couple. Was anyone asleep? That's bull! There's no way that was fair by any standards! Was that Dust Devil's voice? Hey, just because I can do a sonic rain boom doesn't mean that you have to get all bitchy on me. Not my fault you're being such a sore loser. That was definitely Rainbow. Guessing from what he heard, Rainbow won that little race, and Dust Devil was having a hard time accepting it. Up yours, pony! Barked the black and pink dragon. You wish! Rainbow shouted back. Trouble in paradise? Spike smiled as he walked to the arguing dragon and pony. Spike, I'm glad you're here. We need an outside ruling. She cheated in our race. She used some sort of sonic rain boom or something. It's not cheating, frowned Rainbow. I was just using what was at my disposal. Yeah, I'm not touching this with a 30-foot pole, muttered the dragon. I'm sure you two lovebirds can work it out. Excuse me? Both Rainbow and Dust Devil shouted in unison. Look, I don't know what sort of urges you two are fighting, but I have a lot to think about without worrying about your guys' sexual tension. Spike yawned as he pushed past the two of them. I'm not saying go and do it behind the curtains, but figure something out. He left the two of them alone and confused. He heard the two continue arguing behind him. They would make such a good couple. He took a deep breath as he turned down the hall, just as the door of the throne room cracked open. And I haven't seen Bunsen since then, man! A blue unicorn said as he pushed open the door for a red unicorn. They were both adorned in golden guard armor. I'm telling you, Heartshield, she's a bit of a weird one. I mean, you were her trainer. What is she like? Well, Dragoon, the one called Heartshield muttered. She's a total klutz and completely incompetent. She's one of those smarty pants ponies with a fancy science degree. The unicorn mocked sarcastically. Really? I thought she was actually kind of cute. The blue pony blushed. I was actually considering asking her out. Don't bother, the red one said bluntly. Why not? Just don't. That wasn't an answer. In fact, I would say it was a threat. Take it as you will. All I'm saying is that I've been down that road, and it ain't a happy ending. You asked her out? The confused blue unicorn asked. But it sounds like you hate her. Well, she's cute, he said, turning his head away so the stallion couldn't see him blush. You know, for a nerdy klutz. Yeah, there's just something to say about purple mares. So don't ask her out. What? Dragoon asked, snapping back to reality. Just trying to help you out. Sure, the blue pony said bluntly. It's not like you still have feelings for her or anything. Of course not. The two guard ponies walked in opposite directions, Dragoon to the left and Heartshield to the right. Spike couldn't make it out, but he could have sworn that the tough red pony was starting to cry a little. He didn't even see Spike as he walked right past him. That was weird, thought Spike. Wonder who they were fighting about. He shrugged it off. It wasn't his place to go snooping into other ponies' business, especially ponies that he didn't know. Grunting past it, he continued down the hall. He saw a light peek out of Twilight's room. Of course, the night owl was still up, probably still studying about something. The dragon gently knocked on the door. Who is it? It's Spike. Can I come in? Of course, she said, unlocking and opening the door with magic. What's up, Spike? The dragon entered the room. Twilight's room was a lot like his. A queen-sized bed, a dresser, and a nightstand. The only major difference was that there were stacks upon stacks of books. The purple unicorn was sitting at one of the desks, nose deep in a book. I'm not interrupting anything, am I? The dragon asked, closing the door behind him. Of course not. The violet mare closed her book. I was just going to call it a night. Then maybe I should come back later. Spike, don't be silly. Twilight said, jumping on the bed and patting a spot next to her.
I always have time for my little brother.
The dragon's heart warmed up at the sound of those words. He was like a little brother to the mare. Maybe not so little anymore, but she has always been there for him. He took a seat next to the mare on the bed, his eyes locked to the ground.
Spike, is something wrong? You seem upset.
I guess that's why you're a genius.
Well, are you?
More than you can possibly imagine.
So what's on your mind?
It's conquest. I don't think I can beat him.
But Spike, I know you can.
You haven't seen him, Twilight! You have no idea what he's like! He's a psychopathic monster! He wiped away a tear that was forming around his eye. All he does is cause pain to everything he touches, and he seems completely unkillable.
He can't be that bad.
He killed my mother! The dragon shouted, small sparks of green fire leaving his mouth as he continued to yell. He killed her, and all my unhatched siblings, and do you know why he did it? He glared at the frightened mare, who said nothing. Because he could. Everything he does is for fun. He has no desire in life except to cause worldwide genocide, to kill everything else on this planet, and apparently, I'm the only one who can stop him. The purple mare looked at Spike with those big purple eyes of hers. They were slowly tearing up as she wrapped her arms around Spike.
I'm so sorry, Spike. I had no idea that he was that terrible.
Twilight. He brushed a claw down her mane. You have no idea.
Is that all that's on your mind?
No. It's Rarity.
Did she do something?
It's nothing that she did. It's what I did.
What did you do?
I cheated on her.
You what?
I kissed another dragon when I was in the Badlands.
Why would you do something like that?
I was trying to protect her.
How does locking lips with a dragon protect Rarity?
It was an old ex-girlfriend. You know, the one I told you about, and she tricked me. She said if I kissed her, she would help me bring the dragons to come and help us. But you can see how well that turned out. There was a silence as the purple mare digested the stream of information. She knew that he wasn't lying. It wasn't in his nature to lie about something like this. But it also was not in his nature to do something like that, even if he had good intentions.
Have you told her yet?
No. I'm not sure if I should.
Spike, I know that you know the right thing to do.
I should tell her.
You should tell her, but you're not.
The drake scrunched his face in confuzzlement. Excuse me?
All I'm saying is that do you really want your last day with Rarity to be ruined over this?
No.
Then for now, just keep it to yourself. Make tomorrow the best day ever for her. You both deserve it.
The dragon cracked a smile. You really are a genius, aren't you?
I try.
She smiled back, giving him another hug.
You're a great guy, Spike, and I'm so happy to have you in my life.
Me too, Twi. Me too. Hey, do you think I could sleep in here? For old time's sake?
Of course. Let me get you a blanket.
She got off the bed and pulled the purple blanket off the bed and placed it neatly on the ground. Thanks, said the dragon as he lay down on the ground, curling up in the blanket almost like a cat. Takes you back, huh?
I miss those days.
Twilight curled up in the remainder of the sheets on the bed.
It took me almost a month to get to sleep without the sound of your snoring.
I don't snore. I purr. Whatever.
The point is that it was heartbreaking when you wanted your own room.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I knew that eventually you would want your own room. I just wish you could have stayed my little brother forever.
Hey! I'll always be your little brother.
I know, Spike.
She turned off the light with a brush of magic.
Good night, Spike.
Good night, Twilight. I love you. 5 astraces with a scene break.
Has anybody seen Spike?
Asked Rarity at breakfast. The pickings were slim, as Lurch ate the fridge and most of the food yesterday, so it was mostly just cold cereal and toast, not exactly a royal breakfast. I haven't seen the big ass since yesterday. Applejack took a bite out of her toast. I thought he was hanging with you. I guess you could say that. The white mare blushed. But he went for a walk at night, said he needed some air, and I haven't seen him since then. I reckon he'll show up eventually. Probably went out to get some real food. I suppose. What exactly happened in the kitchen? Trust me, you don't want to know. Hey guys! The energetic pink pony hopped over to the table. What you talking about? Hey Pinky, we're just trying to figure out where Spike went. Oh, I know where he is. I saw him heading into town. He said I was to tell Rarity to meet him in the observatory tonight at 8 o'clock sharp. Why on earth couldn't he tell me this himself? I don't know. Pinky shrugged. But I bet it's a surprise. I see. The white unicorn smiled, looking out the window. What on earth are you planning, Spike? 5 astraces with a scene break. The purple drake walked down the hallway of the castle. He had to be careful not to be seen by any pony, especially Rarity. He already talked to Rainbow, Fluttershy, and Twilight about his plan, and he knew Pinky would get the message to Rarity. Everything was set. He just needed to get one more thing, and find a place to hide until later. He was so lost in his thoughts, he didn't see the pony turning the corner, and collided headfirst with him. Watch where you're going, dragon! Nice to see you too, Curbhoof. Did you miss me? Why would I miss you? Never mind. The drake got up from the ground. The guard pony shoved past him as he went down the hall. Okay, what is your problem with me? The white unicorn stopped and turned around and glared at Spike. I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like your kind. And I don't like your face. I hate dragons. He turned around and walked down the hall, disappearing around the corner. Jackass. Spike continued down the hall in the opposite direction. He found the corridor he was looking for, the one that went down into the earth, and into the den, where Forge was. Pushing past the large iron door of the den, he felt a soothing blast of heat. The lava ponds were still glowing a crimson red and a golden yellow, and there was racks of armor and weapons still littered everywhere, just the way he left it. Is that you, Spike? The red and gold dragon's head slowly rose from one of the beds of lava. He had been sleeping in the lava, apparently. Hey, Forge, taking a nap? When you get to my age, Spike, your body starts to betray you. He crawled out of the lava bath. Never grow old, Spike. Come on, you're only, what, 1,000 years old? You still got a few millennia left. Then why do I feel like I'm pushing 5,000? What? Are you sick? Spike was becoming increasingly concerned for his friend. I'll be okay. He brushed off what was left of the lava off his body. Now, rumor has it that there are other dragons here now. Is that true, or are the ponies pulling my tail? It's true. I flew to the Badlands to get help from the dragons. Now, why would you do something like that? I thought they still had a grudge against the ponies, especially Inferno. I met 'em, and yeah, they still hate us. Us? Asked the forging dragon, pounding his hammer into some sheet metal. When did we become ponies? Spike rolled his eyes. You know what I mean. But that Inferno guy, what's his deal? The other 4 dragons seemed a little quiet, except for the one called Rockjaw, and Inferno seemed to disregard everything he said. Inferno is a proud dragon, but with it comes ignorance and intolerance. He's still bitter over the Dragon Wars. Most dragons can hardly believe it. What exactly happened? During the wars, how did the ponies win? Honestly, I don't remember. To be honest, I doubt even Inferno and the other elders remember what happened. All they know is that they have a bone to pick with the ponies. That's very dragon of them, finished Forge, laughing a bit at his own joke. But the past is in the past, and we must focus on the present. He went into the back of the armory, pushing past some hanging swords and battle axes. I know I put it here somewhere. Aha! Here it is! He pulled out a decent-sized rock, around the size of a baseball. Here is that special request you asked for a while back. Thanks, Spike said, taking the rock out of Forge's hand. This wasn't what I had in mind. Just crack it open like an egg when the time is right, the wise dragon said, putting a claw on the purple drake's shoulder. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. If you say so. Spike shrugged, tucking the rock under his scales for later. I guess I'll be off. Say hi to Rarity for me. I will, said Spike, taking 2 steps to the door before turning around. Wait, how did you know her name? I never told you that. Oh, right, laughed Forge, facepalming. You weren't here when we had our little chat. Rarity came down here? Heaven, no. The Red Drake took a seat on the edge of one of his many tubs of lava. She met me when I was on one of my armor runs. There's another doorway in the back that leads directly into the bunkers where I collect dull blades and dented armor and replace it with new ones. When I was making my trip to the mayor's corridors, I saw a white unicorn looking around. I knew she was the mayor you were talking about, 'cause she mistook me for you. She was all, "Oh, my spiky wikey, is that really you?" Kind of funny, actually. She mistook this scarred-up mug for yours, he said, pointing to his heavily scarred, one-eyed face. Huh, hummed the Purple Drake. What did you two talk about? Nothing much. I told her a few things about the dragons and what I did around the castle. She told me she was a fashion designer, or something. She gave me a few pointers on design, even though I have no use for it. And I gave her pointers on forging, which I know she won't have any use for. Then we talked about you for a bit, and then I left. She's a good mare, Spike. Don't lose her like I did. Excuse me? Forge's eyes widened as he quickly looked away. Forget I said anything. Forge, did something happen to someone you love? Do you really want to know? Spike shook his head. All right, so here's a story. It was a few years after I was banished from Volcana, and I was making my way towards Equestria. My original plan was to cut through Equestria and head north to the Crystal Mountains. But when I was cutting through the Everfree Forest, I saw the most wonderful creature. What? A spring dragon, Spike. One of the most rarest and mysterious members of our race. They don't live in Volcana, and they aren't involved in the wars. They tend to keep to themselves and have managed to hide themselves in myths and legends. I had caught this particular one in the middle of her afternoon bath. And how did she like that? Well, they aren't rare because they're used to being seen. The second she saw me, she dove into the water. I wasn't a strong swimmer, so going after her was a problem. But I knew that she would eventually have to come up for air, so I waited. She could hold her breath for a good long while, but not forever. She was mighty mad when she went up for air and I was still there. She started cursing at me in some sort of strange language I've never heard of, and then ran away. So what did you do? I followed her, of course. Really? Have you ever seen a spring dragon? They're beautiful. Their scales are like leaves, sticking out a bit like feathers, and they had these long, slick bodies, kind of like a cloud weaver. So of course I followed her. Sounds dreamy. What happened when you caught up to her? I tried my best to explain that I had no desire to hurt her. She had a relative understanding of Equestrian, and we were able to come to an understanding. I told her my name, and I found out her name was Mist. Beautiful name, Mist. We spent the next couple of months getting to know each other, and at some point, we fell in love. Love is truly a beautiful thing, is it not? Depends on the kind of love. Well, this was true love. Or at least, it was. Everything was absolutely perfect, so I should have figured something terrible was waiting around the corner. Namely, you know who. And that's when you fought Conquest, wasn't it? The Red Drake nodded. It took me completely by surprise. 1 minute I'm lying down in the grass with Mist. The next minute, the ground starts shaking and a black pony bursts out of the ground, laughing maniacally. I was a little pissed, so I did the not-so-smart thing and breathed fire on him. Well, that only made him laugh more. Seriously, forget about fire with him. That guy was probably baptized in hell. Noted. Anyways, after that, he leapt at me. He was fast, Spike, and strong. When you think you have him, he spits something in your face. In my case, it was a pissed off pair of skeleton squirrel zombie things. That's how I get these. He pointed to his face and its many scars. It was a long and brutal fight. I thought it was all over when he got that lucky punch in and knocked my eye clean out of my skull. Spike cringed a little. Ouch. That's not even the half of it. As I was getting off the ground, he thought it would be a perfect time to rip my wings out. That hurt immensely. But what really hurt was what I saw next. He had managed to grab Mist, and he held her in his hoof. He started to whisper all terrible things that he was going to do to her. Thank the goddess that Celestia showed up when she did. The princess showed up? Was she able to stop Conquest? With the elements, yes. But not before Conquest did something absolutely terrible. What? He ripped her heart out and ate it. He just ate it right in front of me. That's terrible. The red dragon looked down and sighed. After he did that, I lost it. He took the one thing I loved after all. So I ripped his head off. He didn't even fight back. He just kept laughing. Even when his head was clean off his body, he kept on laughing, kept on joking, making fun of the situation like it was one big gag. I threw his still alive head into the portal that the princess conjured up and ran to my love's side. It was too late, wasn't it? It was, but I was desperate. I wanted to save her so bad, sniffed the red drake, wiping a possible tear away from his good eye. And I would have done anything to save her. And that's exactly what I did. What did you do? I gave her my heart. You what? Spike spat out in disbelief. Let me show you something, Spike, said Forge, getting up from where he was. He slowly flexed open one of his pointy claws, and with expert precision, he cut a line into his skin. A slow trail of blood spilled out as he continued to make the cut, grunting only slightly from the pain. Spike watched in awe as he finished, sticking his fingers into the new hole and pulling his scales apart. Take a look, Spike. The purple drake took a look through the hole in the dragon. Beyond the thick flesh and muscle was Forge's beating heart. Spike had never seen a dragon's heart before, so he wasn't sure what to expect. It was fairly large, not as big as he thought, roughly the size and shape of a pear. The heart was shiny and metallic looking, almost as if it was made of gold. But there was something odd about it. The beating seemed much faster and irregular than a normal heart would beat. It looked like it was crudely cut up and ravaged. A dragon's heart is a fascinating organ, Spike, said Forge as he pressed the skin back together, breathing a little fire into his hand and placing it on the cut. They can beat for 5,000 years, heal almost any injury within minutes or hours, and gives us our strength and power. The heart is so powerful, and it can even continue beating for hours after it's been torn from the body, and can even continue beating when cut in half. He sighed, pausing for a moment. And that's exactly what I did. I gave her half my heart in an attempt to save her. I had hoped I was quick enough and there would be enough time for the heart to hook out and pump out all the toxins death brings. But it was all for nothing. She died in my arms a few minutes later. Spike didn't know what to say. All he could do was look at the dragon in front of him, slowly break down, and feel nothing but pity. Pity for the broken shell of a dragon that stood before him. The dragon that literally gave his heart to save the one he loved. I know what you're thinking, Spike, said Forge, putting a claw on his shoulder. And I want you to know that I don't regret what I did. I would do it again in a heartbeat. But what happens when you do that? Cut your heart in half. Does what you think. It slowly kills you. The candle that burns twice as hard only lasts half as long. My body is getting on in decades. Things start to hurt a bit more than they used to. I'm not as strong, nor can I heal as fast. With only half a heart, Spike, I will be lucky if I reach my 25,000th birthday. I'm sorry. Don't pity me. But you need to promise me something. You need to promise me that you will end this, Spike. His tone grew more serious. You have to promise me that you will stop Conquest once and for all. Locking him up isn't going to cut it anymore. He's hurt so many ponies and broken so many hearts. Avenge them, Spike. Avenge them, and then love your mare. Marry her. Spend the rest of your lives together. Promise me this, Spike. Spike nodded his head. I promise. 5 asterisks with a scene break.
Spike! Spike, where are you?
Called Rarity. It was later in the evening, and she had just walked into the observatory. In the middle of the room was a large telescope, and next to it a small table with a piece of paper on it.
What's this?
She asked herself. She walked to the table, picked it up, and read the note.
To my very special love, there are so many things we can do together, and I can think of no one better to do it with than you. Unfortunately, we only have a little time left before I must go out and fight. We could go for a walk on the beach in the moonlight, or have a romantic candlelit dinner for two. Perhaps I would take you in my arms and we would soar through the skies, my love. Or we could just stay in by the fire, cuddling in its warmth all night. There is only time to do one thing, and it is the most important one of all. Please look into the telescope, my love. What could he mean?
Wondered Rarity, looking at the telescope. It was pointing towards and out the ceiling, where a skylight had been made so it was easier to stargaze.
Look in the telescope.
Slowly, she put an eye to the lens.
What is so important? Oh my.
There was so little time. In the morning, Spike would have to go out to battle, and there was a chance that he wouldn't survive, and he only had one night left together. Sure, they could have gone out on a dinner date, but really, did they really need to waste time with such things? Flying would be nice, to be cuddled in his strong arms as they flew over the clouds, but this was better. A walk on the beach sounded romantic, but there was so much more. As for cuddling by the fire, well, it wasn't that late, but it was all trifles compared to what Spike had done this evening. He truly picked the best way to spend the night, and it was written in the sky.
Will you marry me?
It took Luna all day to get the stars right. Rarity turned around. Spike was on one knee.
Is this really happening?
Rarity, from the moment I laid my eyes on you, you had been the only thing that I have ever been able to think about.
This is happening.
I know we wasted a lot of time jumping around our love, afraid that the other didn't feel the same, and we would jeopardize our friendship.
I think I'm going to faint.
But we were able to move past that. And now, here I am, down on one knee. I know I may not be the stallion you wanted, or a prince from a fairy tale, but I love you, Rarity. He reached into his scales, pulling out the rock Forge had given him, and cracked it open. Inside was a perfectly crafted ring, meant to go around a unicorn's horn. So will you do me the honor of making me the happiest drake on the planet, and
Yes, 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 a million times, yes!
The ecstatic white mare cheered, jumping onto the drake, knocking him back and bombarding him with kisses all over his face.
I will marry you, Spike the dragon.
She slipped on the ring over her horn. It felt so right.
This ring is lovely. Where did you get it?
I had Forge make it. The jewels around the edges are dragon tears, and I know how much you love them.
It's absolutely beautiful, darling, and I love it. This is wonderful, positively wonderful.
I'm glad you're happy. It just gives me another reason to live.
Please don't talk about that,
said Rarity, getting on top of the down dragon.
Tonight, there is no war, no conquest, no drama. It's just you, me, and a very special friend.
She motioned to the door as it slowly creaked open. Princess Luna?
Hello, Spike.
The Night Princess smiled, slowly closing the door behind her. What are you doing here? The tall dark mare gave Spike a hot, sultry look, her eyes filled with lust.
I owe Rarity a favor, so consider this an engagement gift.
And that was Chapter 17. Chapter 17, The Proposal of For the Ones We Love, written by Flim Brothers on FIM Fiction. Oh, wow. awesome. I love that one. Ah, so many good chapters. Ah, so nice. Just puts a good feeling in your heart. Yeah. You know, this actually would have been a lot better if I read this around Valentine's Day, or Valentine's Day rather. But I don't know. Shit happens, and if anyone works a second shift with odd hours, you know my plight. Anyway, I really can't say much else. As always, subscribe if you want to hear more readings. Like the video if you loved it. Like it if you loved it. And comment saying, you know, what you like, what you didn't like, what you want to see more of, la 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 la. And also, you know, suggestions for other stories. I need to go back and review some suggestions, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So, yeah, I'm just a lazy, tired bastard now. But what changed? Other than that, you can check out the story yourself in the description, and check out Brad, who helped me on this chapter, previous chapters, future chapters, and, you know, leave your love on their respective channels, because both these people are amazing. Anyway, thank you all for listening. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.